Hey guys, Jeff Foils. It's about 7:25. Sorry if my camera skills are a little shaky, but I was told to get a phone holder and the last one I got didn't work. So anyway, we just wrapped up a great opportunity to give back to the homeless and the other people that have, we consider desolate or have challenges in their life, that hopefully we brought a little more ease to that. It really is the most satisfying thing to do, to step up and be able to recognize it, but also be able to recognize that it's a need that we can all participate in. And it goes back to humankind, mankind, being able to say, look, if I was in need, how much would I appreciate the kind-heartedness, the unselfishness, the unconditional support of people that are working to get themselves out of their situation. And I think it says a lot about the people that have stepped up or who will step up. And I've seen so many times, and it's, over the last, I don't know how many months, or the last year, or actually longer than that, probably 2 decades, I think, when I started reading and studying and being able to identify some of these human capacity, if you will, and the amount of guilt and shame and being able to forgive themselves. It is really mind-boggling to see that we have such high standards for ourselves that we really debilitate our abilities to do these things. And we do that to ourselves because we're not able to forgive ourselves, we're not able to forgive others, and it's debilitating, and it tends to restrict us from doing the things that we should be doing. It becomes toxic, if you will, toxic to our development and to the development of becoming that better person that you're shooting for. And I think our whole life we tend to do that. Our whole life we tend to focus on how can I get better, how can I get better. And I'm a huge believer and a huge fan of people, and that means a huge believer that most people in this world are honest. And that's sometimes, I think, hard for people to comprehend, but most people in this world are honest and kind-hearted and able to really at times show that. And so I think it's up to all of us to bring that out in people, and the only way to do that is to show examples. And I know this, I know in my life I've experienced most of it's showing examples. And when you experience it, and when you have an opportunity to go out there and do these things and be a part of this journey, if you will, it's the result, And I know sometimes it's in the moment we call let go of the result, right? Stay in the moment, let go of the result, and everything's revealed. But when you actually experience it, you start to realize that, wow, we did make a difference. And there's nothing, no drug, nothing in this world that can give you that feeling except for serving others. And at that point, you really have to commit to it. But the forgiveness side of it, which I think is one of my favorite topics, is being able to identify these things. How do we forgive ourselves and accept ourselves and overlook and go past these things? If you're unforgiven to yourself or to others, it hurts you, it hurts them more than anything. It's like not forgiving others is a big deal and a big idea, and it's like drinking, as they say, it's like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to get sick. It doesn't work like that. We have to find the ability to let it go, that drive to have the last word, that drive to have that edge, or to want to feel that you won something. It gets old. It's not necessary, and it never has been necessary. It's a false assumption that we can do these things, and these things will make us be a better person, or we can show our strength. And like I've said before in my other videos, is that it's a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of strength. You know, being able to identify the pure thoughts that we have, and being able to use those in a positive way. But being able to win something, whether it's an argument or being able to identify that I did this better, I was promoted over you. Like I said, you have to want more for the other person than you want for yourself. And in return, if you are focused on that and you are in alignment and you're at those levels, then all of a sudden you feel selfish for getting those things. And that means that you've actually made it somewhere. If you can feel selfish for the return that you get for helping others, that's a very high level. And that means that you've done nothing wrong. You're blessed, and you've been given these blessings, and those blessings you shouldn't hide. And at the end of the day, you should be able to say, look, I am blessed with this and with that, but those blessings have given you motivation and a platform to show others, you know. And I don't care if it's a car, a house, clothes, or, you know, material things. It's not a bad thing to show these blessings, but it has to be shown in the right way. So people that are trying to forgive themselves for buying this or doing that, it's not about that. It's about showing that perseverance and showing others that these blessings that you're giving, and as well as health and even the smallest things in this world are blessings. So we have to be able to identify those and continue to show those as blessings. And it gives motivation. It gives, you know, people a direction, and more than we know. I mean, we literally have 60,000 thoughts a day, and that's through research, and that's proven through scientific research that we basically have 60,000 plus thoughts a day as humans, and it's a lot. What's even more shocking is that 99.9% of those are repetitive. So we think the same thing over and over and over again. There's never really an original thought. So when you have an original thought, we should use it, right? And in order to have these original thoughts, you have to do things different. And if you do things different, then you start to think differently. You know, as they say, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I'll keep saying that as much as I can, because we tend to look at things the way society tells us to. And we get caught up in this from the day we're born, and it starts to mold us. And sometimes we're in a cycle, right? And we tend to come full circle. And when we come full circle, hopefully you land at a point where the circle lands at a point where we're proud of what we're doing and we're able to give back. But forgiving oneself, to me, is a big idea and a big deal, because most of our times we show outer riches. We show outer riches, whether it's materialistic or the fact that we want people to know that we have this, or we speak in this way, or we can show this, or we can be part of this group, or, you know, we fit the mold, right? Well, that mold isn't anything. It's outward riches and what we call inner poverty, which is a large percentage, if not most people in this world, that have outer riches and inner poverty. We're malnourished, right, spiritually. And so when we get to that point, we have to have answers. You know, we got to have ways to solve that. You know, and these answers, they only come with the right tools. So it's you know, when I talk, it's scratching the surface, I know, for a lot of people, and for me as well, because there's not much time, you know, in 10 or 15 minutes of video, but hopefully it reaches out and it touches people, even if it's scratching the surface. The process continues, and hopefully it grows into something else, and not just when you're listening to this. So I think that, you know, beginning with, you know, facing the challenges that we've been through, and we perceive these challenges as good and bad. But most of these challenges that we face, whether it's personally, professionally, physically, mentally, whatever it is, they could be devastating. And it's not easy to look at these challenges and see them as blessings you've received, right? Every challenge I've had in my life has been a blessing. I don't care what it is. And I don't think there's one thing that you can bring up that I haven't faced. And it is everything that I've I've loved. You know, everything from my disease to you know, my ailments, my, you know, whatever it may be. These have all been blessings, and being able to relate to them and give back and show these things. You know, we all have what we call a culture of dysfunction, right? We all have a culture of dysfunction, and it just depends on, are we accepting of this culture? Do we just say, yeah, that's just the way it is, right? That's just what we do. But we also have to look at what is in front of you. You know, we have to have the courage to look and realize and accept that what is in front of you is greater than what was behind you. And when we see it as that, we keep moving forward. And you know, we've all been in that in those situations, and we still are, whether it's, you know, marriage, or it's the challenges we see with friends and family members. And you know, these things are very, at most times, very, very superficial. And even if they are of great importance and tragic in a lot of ways, without going extremely deep, it's, you know, none of these are problems. And we have to face the illusion that these things were planned for us, or these things, why me? Why am I so unlucky? And you know, in this path of it should never happen, and why does God allow this to happen? And these are all big questions. And once we realize and we're able to look at some of these things as not problems and a process instead, there's a difference. There's a difference between life and life situation. And as soon as we are able to separate that, it gives us unlimited abilities to reach and to continue to reach and continue to have answers and solutions to these life situations, that is. So it's a big deal to once again, to forgive and to create two separate categories, and that is life and life situation. And we go back to, or I go back to, what have I gone through? What have you gone through? What has everyone gone through, right? And it's not what you've gone through. And we all have a story. We all have, you know, we all have a past, if you will. And in the past, it's always regret, it's shame, it's guilt. And a lot of people live in the past. In the future, we have anxiety, we have, you know, all of these anticipations that, you know, expectations and goals that we won't achieve. So we rarely stay in the now. We rarely stay focused. But we dwell mostly in the past, wondering, how can I forgive myself for that? How can I forgive myself for creating that situation? But once again, it's not what you've gone through, right? It's how you feel about it. And so the things that we've gone through, there are no regrets. We have to eliminate the resentments. The resentments will continue to eat away at what good we even plan to do. So if we can figure a way out to continue to forgive ourselves, because it all starts with ourselves. And I think that in the beginning, it is the first step. And I talk to a lot of people, and have for many years, when it comes to the human side of it, right, the development side of it. And the first thing they skip over is themselves. They skip over their quality of life. They skip over, you know, the love for themselves. They skip over their what we call self-actualization, which means you can't be what you're supposed to be. And that's debilitating. You know, once again, it puts us in a box to where, oh, I always wanted to be a doctor. Oh, I always wanted to be this. I wanted to be that. Or I can do this. Or I can give back here. I can serve here. Most of the times when I had two friends, great friends that showed up tonight, brought donations and participated at the, as we served the homeless. And once again, I could see that there was an opening, if you will, in their mind that said, this is stuff I wanted to do. And the same thing I said, and the same thing others say, this is stuff that I wanted to do. These are things that I wanted to eventually become a part of, but we all have reasons why we don't. And so at the end of it, we have to stay out of the past. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to eliminate the resentments, the shame, the guilt, and that opens up everything else. So I tell people, if you don't love yourself, if you don't live at a balanced self-esteem and in alignment, everything else doesn't fall in place. We know we're off balance. We know we're out of alignment. Especially with our relationships and with money and with really, working out, staying physically fit, staying, nourished, eating healthy, losing weight. There are so many things, and we're all human, and we're all sick. It's just a matter of how do we handle these situations? How do we handle, our ability to see ourselves as the best we can see, and that means forgiving yourself. And we keep going back to, can we position ourselves to make it better? And once you do that for yourself, everything else falls in line. It's amazing, And the problem is that people say I don't do things for myself. I don't do things, I always give. I always want, and it's not their fault. That's your fault. You can't feel selfish for reaching out and helping yourself. Because if you're at peace and you're happy with yourself, it's not a selfish motive. It's not self-serving. Of course, there's people that are, but from the context of what I'm talking about, you have to be happy with yourself. And at that point, everything just falls in place. Everyone falls in place. All things become one, and you become, in alignment. And that alignment, if you've had a good day and you wake up and you realize that everything feels good, you woke up on the right side of the bed, because that dictates your day most of the time. Don't stub your toe, because that could throw off everything for the day if you're not in alignment. Things like that should never tilt you one way or the other. I know it's simple, but it does happen. And we've all had those days where we woke up, it was a great morning, it was a great afternoon, a great evening, had a great time with the family, everything went well. And we say it's been a great day. You say what a great day when you go to bed, and then we're so surprised, right? We're so surprised that day was, I don't want to forget that day. I never want to lose that thought. I don't want to lose that memory. But why do we cherish just one day? It's amazing how we can focus and continue to focus on the one good day that happened, or you might have more than one, but it's how you handle the challenges, right? And to me, once again, the challenges are the blessings, because we grow, we can understand better of what kind of person we are by handling it, how we handle it. And once again, forgive yourself, forgive others, and get yourself in a position where all of those resentments, and hopefully this will touch some people, will say, look, it's not worth it. You have to step up. It doesn't matter. There's no reason to win or lose. It's not about that. It's about stepping up and moving forward. Doesn't mean you have to give in to someone. It doesn't mean you have to say they were right. Even if they're wrong, it doesn't matter. Forgiving someone, stepping up, and putting yourself in a position that, as if you were unforgiven, all that weight off your shoulders. So what I do is I pray for that person, no matter how challenging that person is to me or my family or anyone else. I pray for that person. I feel sorry for that person, and I hope they find the peace that I found and others have found. And so, ending on that note, I am so happy that we had a great chance to, or an opportunity to serve everyone tonight. And I tell you what, it was a little bit, I would not say frustrating, if you will, because we didn't have much. We didn't have a lot of donations this time, and it's challenging. It really is tough for us to go out there, and it was tough because we didn't have as much as we usually have. We had all kinds of spurts, whether it be, I had some clothes in my car. It was scattered, and it's usually not that scattered because we were scrounging to get as much as we could. So, and we also had a fairly, I'm not saying in a bad way, an aggressive crowd of homeless friends that really needed things. And the weather's changing, the the challenges on the streets are changing. And so we learned some stuff tonight, and we always do, but we really learned that we have to anticipate, and we have to push, and we have to get out there, and we have to talk to people and get some donations and get people to really realize that the stuff they have sitting in their closets, or the things that they're not using, are so important. I had a gentleman come up, and although we didn't have a lot of men's clothes, which we need desperately, we had a gentleman come up who needed 5T clothes. They had a baby or a young child, and we normally don't have any of that stuff, and women's clothes are thin, but 90% of the homeless that we serve are men. But we do have those requests, and so we happen to have some of the toddler books, and we had some coloring books and some toys, which we never have, and a few other things for children that they wouldn't normally have, and that was brought by a friend of mine and others tonight, that she made her debut, if you will, out with us. And so it what she brought, which she didn't know what to bring really, but what she brought was perfect. You know, God showed up and brought those things, and we had one person ask for them, and sure enough, I had to reach inside the shuttle because we didn't have anyone to give it to but this person, and they couldn't believe it, actually. So that worked out really well, and we had some fruit donated and things that went really quick. So we gave away absolutely everything we had, toiletries, from toothpaste, toothbrushes, soap, especially, all the things that were really, really important for the crowd we had tonight. And it was frantic. It was frantic. It got to the point where we were writing things down of what people needed because we didn't have it, and it was important to make sure that they saw that we'll bring it next week, or we'll find a way to get it, or let them know that we're thinking about them, that we can bring those things together and we can get those things for them next week. And everywhere we went afterwards, I walked around. I actually went to McDonald's right next door to where we were, and there were our homeless friends, we say, were everywhere, and they walked up to me and couldn't stop thanking me, and he said, even though I don't need anything, we love you guys and thank you for coming out. And a lot of them turn down what we give them because they already have them. So there isn't any greediness there, that's just needs. So going back to my original structure, it's about forgiveness, and you see a lot of that on the streets. And to end on this, forgiveness of self-forgiveness is not only a big idea, but it's necessary for us to grow and to open up our process and to eliminate that that culture of dysfunction, which we're all dysfunctional. And it helped us to realize that the people on the streets, when we talk to them one-on-one, and a lot of them just come up, they don't need anything. We ask them, what do you need? They go, no, we're fine. We're fine. Just a cold water. You have a water? We give them a water, and they want to talk. So we just talk. And they will express themselves as, I did forgive myself. I left my family, my kids, my addiction, my, whatever it may be, losing their jobs, being on the streets for years. They have forgiven themselves, and you can tell the progress that they're making. So tomorrow, it'll be a pleasure and honor for me to participate a little bit deeper, and Tony Hilker and Joyce Kite Smith, who spearhead a majority of this, and we get to help some people move from one of the camps into another place. So it's going to be great experience, and I think that from the continuing to learn what we need to do differently. So I appreciate you guys listening. A little bit longer because earlier I couldn't talk. It was too hectic, too quick, and I will post this on my YouTube channel. Just search Jeff Voyles, V like Victor, Oyles, and you can watch this, how about again and again. But I love you guys. Hopefully we can reach out, and if you can contact me with any donations, please hit me up and PM, call, text, whatever you got to do. We have a group, some drop-off areas. We have people that pick them up, but we're desperate. We've gotten down to no clothes, and that's very rare. So if we can pick up a little bit and get some. We've had some great donations lately, but not enough. So, all right. Well, you guys have a great night, and I love you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.